there is some strategic investments which they have to make in India. Now the other existing Indian entity does not have to participate in that, so it is not going to get benefited out of that. So what are the activities which the hub is providing? How do we categorize those activities? Some of them may be categorized in the nature of shareholders activities, some of them can be categorized in the nature of services which are benefiting the, say, Indian entity. In my example of for ease of our discussion, say Indian entity. So shareholders activity as per OECD and otherwise also in other international literature has been categorically stated that shareholder activities, because it is not benefiting the other entities globe at large, those are the expenses which are not required to be allocated to the other companies, that they have to be borne by the head office entity itself. The other activities, whether they need to be allocated, the cost of them needs to be allocated or not need to be allocated, depending upon two things. One is whether you have to apply two tests. One is that whether an independent enterprise in comparable circumstances would have been willing to pay for that activity, that's one. And second is that whether that activity is being performed in-house or not. So two things. One is that am I getting any benefit by that service, or do I already have an in-house team? So say if I am getting allocated for some HR or some legal activity. So one is that do I really require those activities? Should have had was I in a position, or was I really requiring those services? Should I actually hired somebody outside the company? Second is that so I am definitely getting benefited out of it. Second is that whether these services are, whether I have already that kind of team sitting with me also. So I have already an HR team which is actually not providing only the services which are required by local services, but it is also providing something similar what even that hub is doing. So these are the two tests that you have to see to ultimately determine that cost needs to be allocated or need not be allocated. So if your answer to both the questions is yes, then those costs are required to be allocated. If one of the questions you get a response no, then the costs are not required to be allocated. So this is the principle. There are a few judgments on management charge which I am not considering here, but I am just taking one judgment in case of Delhi High Court, in case of Bushman and Wakefield, where there was this is something which was actually on reimbursement of expenses, where the High Court categorically stated that even reimbursement of expenses, which actually inherently you will consider as a third party expenditure, and generally it is more from administrative purposes that these expenses are paid by other entity and then again are recovered paid by one entity and recovered by another entity. So these are the expenses also, they require an in-depth transfer pricing analysis, means that you need to know that there is no further markup or there is no further weight that has been assigned to the cost that is being allocated. And second was that this High Court judgment categorically stated about the benefit test. So anything which is being debited to the P&L account of the Indian entity, that has to be tested for the benefit test. So just for the sake of I'm just being conscious of the time, so I'm not really going very much in detail. But these are the two principles. Because in practice, we sometimes it so happens that companies do not disclose the reimbursement of expenses, considering that these are pure third-party expenses and accordingly need not be disclosed. But in this case, High Court categorically stated that they are required to be disclosed and they are required to be benchmarked also. There has to be a comprehensive transfer pricing answer. These are the terms which they have used in the judgment. And in another, there was one more transaction where they talked about referral fees payment by Indian entity, where they said that the benefits, if any arising out of that payment, that has to be recorded by the Indian entity, and therefore in that case the determination of arm's length, the case was remanded back to the transfer pricing officer. So with this we should just end the session. So with this we end the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manisha and Suchi, for taking us into a complete overview of the recent landmark rulings. I think we don't have time for any questions because the next speaker, Mr. Suhas Kulkarni, has come all the way from Pune. We would not like to intrude into his timing. With this, I request Varsha to give vote of thanks.
respected seniors on and off the dais, and my dear friends, we all would agree that after having learned these basic concepts of this dynamic subject of financial pricing, when the course has moved to advanced levels of dealing with advanced issues, today's speakers have really made a valuable contribution by sharing their rich knowledge on this subject. With their masterly knowledge, they have taken us through various controversies, live issues, and also updated us with the latest legal positions on the same. Manisha and Shuchi, both, thank you very much for this enlightening session. And with these words, I propose a very deserved vote of thanks for them. And request to So we'll be assembling in 10 minutes. There'll be a short break of 10
Ready, Gotcha?
Starting with art
In 2006,
I'm proud of you. You see what is I love that.